This is the big conclusion to the Age of Egg crossover. This is New Mutants, issue 24, and it has got a fabulous cover. I can't say fabulous, can I? I realised I just can't get away with it. It sounds like I am being sarcastic or ironic. Great cover by Michael Super Saiyan though. Dan Stevens, he is having a breakdown when all the action happens around him, which is very much the plot of this issue. I said last part, it is weird that the final chapter doesn't have Clayface on art. Clayface was the one who redesigned all these characters and stuff. He was the lead artist of this crossover. You would think they would end with him, but instead we have that other guy, the other artist. And our story has reached its apex. We have learnt that everything is just a fantasy that was brought into existence by Dan Stevens, or rather, an evil personality in his head. And now that evil personality, which has taken the form of his stepmom, Boren Myra MacDonald, her world has been exposed as a lie, and now she is responding by destroying it all to spite the excellent men who ruined it. And after 5 chapters where I came to accept that despite my original belief that he was a main character in this story, cannonballs is not really a focus in Age of Egg. Well, this issue here undoes all that by having a large dosage of cannonballs. In a nutshell, what this issue gives us is exactly what this page shows here. We get one off showing us the excellent men in action against this world that is coming down around them, and then the other half, the more emotionally resonant and weighty stuff, is with Dan Stevens, him coming to accept his responsibility for the evil Boren Myra persona and this world that has fucked with all their lives like this. There is some more cannonballs, and we get little resolutions to some of these subplots like Wolfman here. But for me, I just really love the stuff with Dr. X and Dan Stevens, because this here is our final fight with Boren Myra. She has decided to cut her losses. She's going to destroy this world and just start again with a new world that is better than this one. And so we have Dr. X and Mr. Magnet team up, which is fun. They try and fight her, but they are not very successful because she is in total control of this entire reality. And Dan Stevens, he is hiding in the corner watching all this, and he realises that something needs to be done, and he's really the only one who can do something. And our next bit is some more cannonball stuff. He is flying around in the sky and he gets shot down and he is wounded, and this bit could be misinterpreted as him dying because Rude shows up and touches him and absorbs his powers. But he's not dead, he is okay. We have got that advert that insults this story by revealing all the main characters in this crossover will be fine, and they will go on to form the new team after it is over. So here we go with the great stuff, and I cannot read all this out. I had to be really selective with what I chose to read out. Dan Stevens, he confronts Bor and Myra, and then he absorbs her back into himself, and then Mr. Magnet goes, "What did you do?" And Dan Stevens says, "I called her home, and now I am going to end this." And he looks a bit sinister, and it's like that bit in The Guest again. "The words that would best describe this feeling would be haunted by your soul." Great film. Go and watch The Guest. Dan Stevens, he is brilliant in it. So now we have this bit where Dan Stevens, he is going to go and fix things. He realises that he has the power within him to mend everything that Bor and Myra broke. And a huge part of this is that Dan Stevens, he has to accept and give up this world where he is treated well and he is loved, because it is the right thing to do, and maintaining this broken world was a lie and it was selfish. When he corrects things, we have some narration here, some of Dr. X's thoughts, and it's great. Dr. X, he thinks, "This is my son, and I have never been prouder of him than I am now." Lovely stuff, but maybe I am being incredibly one note in my praise here. I obviously think that Dr. X and his relationship with his son, it has potential to be brilliant. And I might be so favourable to this story because Michael Lucifer, the writer, he is the only person to really bother trying to tell that story. I am very aware that that element has quickly overshadowed everything else here. So now the world is back to normal, reality is true again, and up here we have Decibel from Generation Next. He discovers that not everything is as it was, because before Age of Egg, he didn't have his powers, but then in the Age of Egg reality thing, his powers were back, and now that things have been reset, well, he still has his powers. Also, it is the Vixen and Cyclist love affair, and they do a kiss, and it is gross. But then, the best wifey ever shows up. It is Emma Frosty's, and she is wonderful. And Cyclist, this bit is actually really funny, because Cyclist, he effectively pushes Vixen away, and he's like, "Get away you, why would I want that when I've got January Jones here?" And they leave together, and Emma Frosty's, she is understanding, considering the events, and it's like the happiest ending ever, because the character, who I have self-inserted as since the cartoon, he gets to gun off happy with my dream woman, while the kinda annoying Vixen, she gets left out with the bins on a Friday morning. And Cyclist, he kind of got to have an affair with a black woman. Proof that Emma Frosty's is just the perfect woman. I would never, ever want to be with anyone else if I had her, but she is so understanding and perfect. I love her. We end with some nice character bits and some setup for some of the fallout from this, and a bookend of sorts with Blind Spot. And we end with Dan Stevens. He thinks about how he could do all of this again. He could create a perfect world for himself. And this time he could do it right because he knows what went wrong the first time. But instead, he rejects this, and he has legitimately grown as a character over the course of this story. I like this one. I like this story. But I have become very, very aware of my stance maybe being entirely built around it, finally tackling an aspect of a character I felt had been neglected for decades. I think this is a tremendous ending to the story. It does do the cosmic reset thing, waving the hands and everything being back to normal, but it is all built around this important character moment. This story, it never really got the credit it deserves, but I think it was this that set up Dan Stevens as a viable character, first as a member of the Excellent Men after this. Then he had a solo book, and this all led to his TV series. Without this Age of Egg, Dan Stevens, he would just be this sometime bad guy with awful hair and stupid limitless powers. So that was Age of Egg, chapters 1 to 6. Rereading this, I found a new appreciation for some elements of it. Firstly, I remembered it as having a strong amount of the Rouge and Mr. Magnet ship in it, and there really is none of that whatsoever. Maybe implied in the first part, but they are never addressed as being an item. I found some actual layers to Mr. Magnets as well. I thought he was characterised quite well. We see him bullying someone for information, and then his fear of the unknown. That stuff was actually great. Now the twist ganning in, I also recognised they did set up a few red herrings to try and stop you from deducing that Boren Myra was obviously the bad guy, even after they established that the bad guy was a she. In that issue alone, Rachel Fenix had been shown talking about how all she wanted was to gan home, and she found herself in this world, and that was a means of misdirecting you into thinking maybe she was responsible for creating this world. I still have some negatives, one of which I only took notice of this time, which is I saw the stuff with Excellent Force as a bit of forced drama to add a bit of action and tension to this plot, which is all about discovery. My biggest criticism, though, it remains Cyclist and Vixen. The reasoning behind it is broken, and not understanding Cyclist's character at all. I do love the stuff done with Dan Stevens. I think there is enough in Age of Egg that is good to make it worth a look. I rate it 7 thumbs up.